episode of Law Weekly focuses on the National Judicial Council's recall of some suspended judges. We have the views of a foremost legal practitioner, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Falana. We also have the highlights from the visit of the NBA section on business law to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and of course our recap of the top trending legal stories. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shoyeli. On Friday the 2nd of June, the National Judicial Council, rising from its 82nd meeting, decided to recall 6 suspended judges, especially as there was a backlog of cases in their various courts for the last 8 months. These has predictably generated a groundswell of reactions. The federal government has also reacted by filing charges against one of the recalled judges, and there are indications that many more charges will be filed in the nearest future. This exactly was one of the fears expressed by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Falana, who broke his silence over the issue in this chat with Law Weekly.
My understanding was that the National Judicial Council believed that the allegations of criminality or misconduct should not hang on the heads of those judges like a sword of Damocles indefinitely. I think the members of the NJC felt, in their wisdom, that 8 months were sufficient to have concluded investigations and then take a decision whether the government wanted to charge those judges or not. I mean, charge them to court or not. But I think, and I do hope, that the decision was well thought out. I have my worries. I would have thought that the leadership of the National Judicial Council should have required from the government or requested the government to make available to the body, to the NJC, the information or the report of investigation in respect of each of the judges. That will have afforded the NJC the opportunity to deal with those cases administratively. Because I have my fears that some of those judges who have been recalled may be embarrassed at the end of the day. I mean, for instance, when the arrests were initially made, I followed up the cases and I confirmed that one of the judges, the Honorable Justice Nnamdi Dimba, had nothing to do with corruption. It was never even remotely associated with corruption. I took up his matter single-handedly and I ensured that the NJC examined his case and gave him a clean bill of health. I would have expected the Nigerian Bar Association and the NJC to follow that precedent by ensuring that judges are cleared, absolved of any allegations of criminality before you ask them to go back to their seats.
But considering the caliber of these judges, don't you think that the government was too slow in filing charges?
Well, as a member of the elite, I would think so. But for somebody who knows the way this system works, whereby there are Nigerians who are arrested and charged with wandering or accused of wandering, whose cases are allowed to remain in the police station for over a year. So when you say 8 months, yes, I agree with you, having regard to the caliber of the suspects involved and the fact that these judges have had their cases suspended, just, you know, I will agree with you that the Ministry of Justice, or rather the State Security Service, the Ministry of Justice, and the EFCC did not, I will confess to you, did not approach the matter with the urgency required. When these judges were arrested, the State Security Service claimed that it had the watertight evidence against them. And so one would have expected that before now, these cases will have been filed in court. But my worry is that a number of cases may be filed against the judges. The NJC would then be compelled again to ask them to stay away from duties. That's why I'm saying that it was not very, very neat. Whereas, just like in the case of Justice Auta of the Kano State High Court, who was alleged to have collected 193 million naira from a litigant, or a Justice of the Court of Appeal who was accused of demanding 200 million naira, the NJC did not wait for any anti-graft agency before dealing with those two cases, you know, and one was dismissed. One was recommended for dismissal, while the other one was recommended for retirement. So it's therefore left for the government to move on those cases and charge the suspects. I would think the NJC should have done that in this case by ensuring that these judges are given a clean bill of health before asking them to resume work.
So do you then agree with members of the bar who say that the government should have reported these judges to the NJC, who would then recommend their prosecution if necessary?
With profound respect to my Lord, the Chief Justice and the other members, I'm sure they could have handled the matter, they could have been more circumspect in reviewing the cases, you know, so that no judge goes to sit. I mean, no judge is exposed to any embarrassment. Because when you say justice must not only be done, but seem to have been done. Even the judge too, must be seen to be above board like Caesar's wife. But if a judge has serious allegations hanging on his head or on his neck, and is sitting there, the members of the public may feel rather awkward. A lot of suspicions should not be allowed around judges and their courts. So that's why I'm thinking that this matter should be revisited as soon as possible, you know, so that the integrity of our courts can be preserved.
But don't you agree that the NJC needs to be more proactive, especially with the discipline of judges?
In the last 18